Hello there! Steam Next Fest is here again, and so am I. Today I want to show you the demo of the game called the Bustle Beacon. But also, gotta give you a warning, this video might not make all that much sense. Because I myself don't have that much sense to give. I've been trying like 3 hours to decipher this game, because it has no tutorials and no hand-holding. And I think it is completely intended. And I think I am slowly getting the hang of it, but that is mostly by association. Because this game is basically when you take Against the Storm and remove the real-time aspect and the growing threat, and basically everything except the logistics, and sprinkle in some more autism. And then you get this game. Let's start it, and then you will see what I'm talking about. So, here we are. This is the city. This is all you start with. And this is, apparently, what you need to make sure is gonna prosper. Right away, you see this flame level and light level. These two are interchangeable, but that is also a little weird. This game is not actually real-time, it's turn-based. But once I hit this button, it's going to convert the flame and turn it into light. But the cost is going to steadily rise. So basically what you want to do in order to expand the visible area is that you want to feed the fire and then turn that into persistent light. It's pretty weird, but functionally the same as the hearth go in Against the Storm. So down here, you got all these resources that you can turn into fire. So far we have nothing but wood and some crystals. But let's keep those for later. There are only a couple specific actions that drain your flame, so this is going to remain more or less constant. And you also start with a couple buildings here. You have an office, a canteen, a kitchen and a warehouse. And as you can see, just like in Against the Storm, you get specific recipes that you can do. And over here we have one slot for traders and the like. That is going to be very important later on. And on the other side of the city, you got these boxes. This took me like an hour to click through and finally understand what they are about. So these boxes are arranged in 4s. So this 4 is the import. You can pay money to get some random items. At least I think the imports are randomized. Over here we got the export. These are definitely randomized. So once you use one of them, the entire list is going to get refreshed. So always aim for one. And then try to gather stuff. And over here we got donations, which is basically endgame luxury goods that you can turn into favor. And favor is yet another resource for very specific things. So here we are with basically nothing at the start, but 10 gold. And after 3 turns we need to pay rent, because of course you have to. And over on this side we got these quest-like entities, and we need to do one of them before we can buy out the station. Whatever that means. I'm going to assume that is going to be either a win condition or something similar to that. But we'll see. Over here we got the build menu. We start with the lumber mill and the well. These are basically single-use recipes for buildings. And if you want to place more, you have to buy the blueprint over here. And it's called build permits. Same thing really. And the most interesting thing about this game is the way it handles workstations. So we go with the lumber mill. You see, it has a radius and a move cost, which I do not understand how it works, because once you place it, I have not seen any way to make it move. But anyway, so the lumber mill counts as a craft building and a lumber mill building. That is going to be important later on. Below that you can see it will push classes, forest, shroom forest and farmhouse. And this pushing mechanic is the one that I am most interested in. Down here you see, we got 5 of what is called wave points. And we're going to use those wave points to do these pushing things, which is basically causing a cascade to get more resources from a single action. In the case of the lumber mill, we're going to place it down. You can see the radius right here. So what we're gonna want to do, obviously, place it next to as many trees as we can physically manage. And the light radius only works for placing the buildings. That effect actually goes through, so that is very nice. So obviously you want to clear the trees, so you have places to put your stuff. And you see, everything that it interacts with is highlighted yellow, but over here we have a pond. Right click, by the way, to cancel. So the lumber mill itself says avoid pushing ponds and melodies, so it doesn't want to be next to a pond. That is its limitation. And it looks like that one is the only pond that we have around us, so I think over here is the best place to put it, so let's put it down here. And now if I click on it, you can see that I linked 7 trees to this one lumber mill. So what that means is that once I execute one of these recipes, either use 3 populations to get some wood, or use the wood that I have and remove 1 durability from the building itself to make some planks. So once I execute any one of these, well, except this one, as you see, this destroys the lumber mill itself. So we might want to think about it a little bit. I haven't really seen a way to restore durability except for certain buildings, so we might want to think about that a little. But the way this works is that you see every resource node has a limited amount of charge. You can use it directly, but most of what you can do is going to remove it. Oh, this tree actually has apples. That is actually very good. Let's pick these. You're going to want as much food as you can get, for very obvious reasons that we will get to in a minute. So now we have 1 used up worker and still 9 available. And the thing about the workers is that they do not refresh at the end of the turn. So as you use them, you have to use the kitchen to turn your foodstuff into meals, and then use the canteen to refresh your workers. Later on, we're gonna be able to find other buildings that can do it more efficiently, and that is literally the name of this game. And also, if all else fails, you can just pay them gold to make them work again. Back to the lumber mill. You see these triangles over here. It says selected for push. works a little weirdly in some cases. But basically, whatever this one is pointing at, that is what is going to be executed for free, essentially. Once you use a building that is linked to that one. So in our case, everything we can do with trees, with the push mechanic, is going to yield us some wood. So, if I do this, gain some planks, that's gonna take 5 wood, make 2 planks, and then activate all the 7 trees that are around us. Each are going to lose 1 charge, but then yield 2 wood per tree. As you can see. And through that, for some reason, we gained a random opportunity. That's a free building. What do we get? 1 pottery that turns clay into stuff. And we don't currently have access to clay. We have an estate that gives us more workers and more opportunities to restore the used up workers. That is always nice. And houses are one of the types of buildings that you can repair. So that's interesting. I mean, I do understand why. It would be pretty bad for the run if your house ran out of durability and then you just lose a bunch of workers. We also have a greenhouse, turns basic foodstuffs and other stuff into food. Most notable is the wheat here. That basically guarantees you infinite wheat. Because once you have a mill, you can grind wheat into flour, and then you use the flour to make more wheat. I think that is nice. And we have an extractor that basically makes basic consumer goods. I think for our purposes, we should take the estate. You see, this is kinda like Against the Storm. You just get random selections every time, and then you have to make the most of it. So we have an estate, and we also have a well that can give us water, and the well links to meadows, shroom forests, and houses. Oh, look at that. There's a shroom forest right there. But unfortunately the trees are in the way. Oh, and it also has a very small range, okay. So if we want to be most efficient with this, then we need to increase the light radius a little further, okay. Oh, and you can rotate it with the mouse wheel. Didn't even know that. Huh. Well, okay. We got a box of failed deliveries. 5 potions. Takes a lot of flame though. This is going to just stay here until we need it. We have 1 stone deposit here. And nothing else from the looks of it. We got 1 crystal deposit. Something just outside of range. Kinda looks like a pond or a mountain. That would be some more stone. You have to scour the land to see what you have available. That kinda determines what you can do. We got some more lost supplies here. That's 4 scrolls. Maybe that will be important later. Okay, that looks like 1 big rock deposit, and that's another. So, kinda put the lumber mill here in an unfortunate position. But what can you do? Still don't understand how to move buildings? We got a spooky dark crystal over here. And another over here. One pond. And 2 leprechauns that we can pester for a little bit of money. Just like in Heroes of Might and Magic. So this is what we have at the moment. Not really high on supplies. We need to remedy that somehow. So I think the most important part here is getting a quarry going. So we can get stone to buy more stuff. You need to buy meals and fields together. That's the only way they work. And I think starting a garden would be nice. Because the last time I tried the game, I kinda neglected apples. And then couldn't make any more food. We also got a druid over here. That can kinda work as a makeshift lumber mill. Because it does in fact link to trees. That's an interesting thing. Anyway, so let's buy 1 quarry. And it links to all mountains, stone nodes, and farmhouses. But wants to avoid shroom forests and darks. We do have some dark crystals. Thankfully, they're all over there. Oh, there's one more in the fog. Interesting. Yeah, this looks like the best place to put it. And it's already occupied. Oh, and these two are just far enough that I cannot do it. Well, okay. In that case, let's start with these 2 little ones. Not much else I can do here. So let's get some stone. That's gonna take 2 stone from each of these. And one more thing that I don't really understand. In such places, you have multiple options of what it creates with a push. But you cannot change that unless you execute the recipe at least once. Not sure why that would work. So basically with these 2, one of these we can actually set to mine ores. Let's do it with this one. They both have 10 charges. Okay, so now the ore is selected for push. So from this point on, every time we gain some stone with the quarry, it's going to take ore from this instead of stone. Like so. Oh, another opportunity. We gain stables. That's actually fairly nice. It creates poop that you can use to fertilize the fields. But of course that takes you in the direction of the fields. A pottery. Still don't have any clay. Greenhouse. Or sacred ground. That goes for nature. Looks like it does something to leprechauns. Don't know what that is. So maybe check it out. Okay, you link to everything that is nature. Oh, goddamn. Ah, trees are not nature. Just forest. That's a weird flex, but okay. But dark crystals are nature. So we can basically start gathering amber for free. Well, kinda for free. We need to do it once. So we can start it. But I do like the sound of that. Wow, look at how much we can do if I just put it here. That's gonna take both leprechauns, the pond. Looks like regular crystal and 2 dark crystals. Oh wow, that's a lot. Okay, let's put you here. Seven links. Awesome. So, in order to start generating free money, which I do like, the pond by default makes frogs. But for us, water is much more important. So let's set it to water. Good. And we need 1 ember. And to mine it even once, we need more free workers. Okay. Thankfully, you start with just enough meat to make some meals. And we can do those meals to gain 3 workers back. But if I could just get 1 loaf, that would be more efficient. Or better yet, get 1 more meal and then use this one to get 8 workers back. So now you see how this game works. Every resource turns into another resource, and you need to figure out a way to get the most out of whatever little you have. I think this takes a very specific type of person to enjoy a game like that. But if you are that type of person, that I'm really glad that I can show this game to you. Okay, we can go for pigs, or eggs, or stone over here. We don't really have crystal deposits. This is the only one. Well, it is linked, so we would be slowly getting some. So we could sell over here. That would be nice. To refresh everything at least once. Because you see these lock icons, that's basically the amount of turns that you cannot use it again. That's usually 1 for most of these buildings. But it can be more than that. Okay, now we can do this. Gain 1 ember. And use that 1 ember on our sacred ground here. It's gonna lock it down for 2 turns, but activate everything so we get a lot more out of this. So if you give metal and it's connected to leprechaun, it's gonna unlock everything. Interesting. So I guess you can use this even when it's locked down. Well, no matter. Let's try this once. And it didn't push anything. See, I'm still not understanding everything about it. Maybe you have to use this one at least once. Or maybe it only works when you have these arrows. Well, the effort was there, I guess. replace the estate down to immediately get 8 workers, 3 meal for a single potato, and 2 meat. I think that can be arranged. We might also start with a well somewhere. Because having water is going to be very important. Yeah, I probably messed it up here. Just used up an ember for no good reason. Oh well. Can make simple meals here. But that is not efficient. I could have just used that one ember to gain 20 flame. I could have used that to increase our radius a little so I can actually see. Whatever. What would be the best place for an estate? Preferably should be somewhere largely empty. Because it pushes parks and obelisks. So basically you want to put down nothing but civic buildings. So maybe right here. Just surround it with stuff. Once we find them. And now we got 18 workers. That's nice. And maybe before we place the well, let's get something that links with village, because that is what a well is. And then that basically means free water for us. We can buy a country house that pushes ponds and houses. We do need a house. Clay carrier works with ponds. But there is only one pond. So it's not very good. And of course, the house doesn't count as basic village building. Because why would it? But we can go with a pig pen. Then we have to set up either wheat or mushrooms and apples. And then we can make it self-sustaining. Or use all our grain to gain a garden, which is the surest way of gaining apples. You know, it does count as nature. A sacred ground does in fact link to nature. Two potion. Oh, wait. Here's 5 potion. Okay, next turn we can definitely try this. Wonderful. So if we put the garden down, we might leverage this. And you can see, if there is a building that interacts with what you're trying to place, you can see its radius. And maybe here at the edge. So we can put other stuff next to the garden. And it automatically links. I do not know if you can manually unlink stuff. Because maybe you want to find some other stuff that works better with the node. Not sure. So this pond is giving us water. Oh, and I placed the garden just right. So it does in fact get the pond and this tree. That's nice. Alright. So, our buildings are done for the day. So let's end the turn here. And we have a supplier right in this slot, as you can see, and it's gonna stay for 2 turns. What do you have? We can buy clothes, metals, 1 loaf of bread, if we had to, we could refresh 10 workers. Interesting. Or just 1 in the canteen. So it would be nice to buy this. The only problem is that we need money for the rent. And we currently cannot export anything. So it needs to stay the way it is. Unfortunate. Well, you know, not necessarily. Oh, it's still logged until next turn. Okay, but next turn we can use the secret ground, and that's gonna bother the leprechauns for money. And then I could buy some loaves. Okay, I can work with this. In the meantime, let's grab some more wood. Oh yeah. And some more rocks. And ores. And what do we have? We have a smith. Oh, that goes with the estate. Oh, look at that. That is very interesting. So technically, you don't even need food if you can link food generating places with others. At least that is how I'm understanding it. So if we put a smith next to the estate, that would work. The only problem is that we need steady supply of metal in that case. But if we were to just double down on estates, then we should get a lot more food out of a single smith. I do like the sound of that. Or alternatively, just go with the bakery, but that still requires a lot of food. You know what? Estate for now. Oh, and there's a third one. Shop, huh? Interesting. Ooh, a silo that generates amber. We can put it next to the dark crystal nodes. That's nice. Okay, so 1 more estate. Right next to this one. We have a whole lot of workers now. Yeah, we're probably gonna need a pig pen. That's kinda non-negotiable. Or maybe a meal first? The druid can make potions. that needs wheat. You see, everything is connected, but the order in which you do these things is very important. I might not be able to get out of getting a clay carrier just for access to clay. The pig pen always starts with 2 charges of animals, so that's basically 2 free pigs. Maybe that is one kind of answer, and it counts as a village. And the farmhouse triggers the village. And the pig pen's pushable is its recharge, so they're probably gonna want a farmhouse first, and then surround it with pig pens. That would kinda make the whole thing sustainable, I think, just from the fact that we have better access to apples than anything else. I would be leaning more towards stables, but I think the pig pen is better. Of course, you got some recipes here at the warehouse. The most inefficient. But let's get +2 planks. And that way I can buy a farmhouse. Bushy's village. So that works with the well. So this is the residential area. Oh, we also count as a village, huh? Another die. Used it once. That's basically free metals and frogs. Yeah, no. Doesn't have the range for that. So here's what I'm thinking. The farmhouse can go here, maybe. Here with the most empty space. So far, anyway. And now we should be starting to think about getting some more light. So let's just put some wood in here. The least efficient. But what can you do? So now we get a light level of 19 and a flame level of 22. Let's get maybe some ember next turn, and then I can show you something. That's done. That's done. Yeah, okay. We'll keep it for this turn. And put the well next to the farmhouse. Like this, because as you can see, the well also has spaces for merchants. So until this one goes away, we do need some space. Okay, now, end of the turn. And so if I understand things right, once I do this, it should push all of these. I can work with this. So now we got 2 embers. I can use one for +20 flame. So now we're at 18. per 42. So once I push this and keep it pressed, it's going to start using up flame in real time to make more light. Oh, I think I understand. The more flame you have, the more it's gonna reduce your stuff. So there is a kind of equilibrium here. Okay, now convert. And behold. So now we're gonna wait until it cools down by this before we can do it again more efficiently. But we can see just a tiny bit more. So that is nice. Oh, what's that? Oh, kinda looks like some ruins. Interesting. Okay, nothing we can do in here. Yet anyway. Next turn, we're gonna pay the rent. This one has been pushed. Oh, wait a minute. Was I wrong? Does it actually cascade with the pushes? Huh. I did not know that. That is very interesting. Let's get some more wood. Obviously, the trees are gonna go away once they are out of charges. But at that point, I think it is much better to use one of these other recipes that destroy it. And we need 4 charges on a tree to directly turn it into planks. Okay. The game will only warn you when they have a single charge left, so you know they're gonna disappear. Oh, sometimes there's eggs or apples, but only on certain trees. Don't actually know what the logic is behind that. But anyway. Some more stone and ores. Very nice. Need 2 planks, you say? I should have started with that here. Whatever. For the sake of this video, we're gonna do this. And then buy a pig pen. Put it maybe right next to it. Okay, now we can get some pigs or some meat. Yeah, we're gonna need a steadier food supply than this. But once we do it, it's gonna activate and it will be very nice. We could buy 8 mushrooms, but then we don't have the money. We could sell most of our apples, but that is never a good idea. So you know what? Let's go around the trees. Here's an egg. And since you can only do this one time. And it doesn't take away the charges from the tree. Okay, now we got some eggs. And we can sell them. And all of these are gonna get randomized. See? Still not very good for us. But slightly better anyway. Oh, we get 1 pickles. All we need is some meals. If only I had a blacksmith right about now. But we do not. And I think we're good. We have the money, might as well import some mushrooms. Yeah, of course, it is the pottery that triggers the estate. And nothing else. Oh well. At least we can turn wood into amber at the silo. Ooh, alchemist. Pushes druid, stables, and estate. Just what I need. And it also makes potions. Double nice. So you want dark nodes and crystal nodes. But the dark nodes would be much more beneficial. Can I place it? Yeah, I can, so it hits both of these. And the sacred ground is kinda hitting these others. So I think I should be good. Alright. Yeah, I can't put it here. The pond is in the way. Okay. So obviously the crystals make us crystal. And the dark crystal takes amber. So, bam. There we have it. And once we pay the rent, we're gonna gain a rank, which is gonna add to our wave points. So we can push more buildings at one turn. And that is how you get ahead. But until then, once we have too many buildings, we're gonna be selective about what we do in any given turn. So what I would want to do is gain more eggs. And then try to see what we can get with that. And name other trees with eggs. This one has apples. I'll still take that. Here's some eggs. And here's some more. And here's yet another egg. You know what, sure, let's harvest everything while we're at it. Actually, you know what, I think we're good. Need to think about the light levels as well. Okay, Ember is down. But until then, we can use some crystals. Don't actually know the relation between light and flame level, like you need to keep the flame above the light level or anything. But obviously, there is some sort of equilibrium. We just have to increase that somehow. Anyway, now we use the farmhouse. That will trigger the well and the pig pen. Gonna increase the pigs and give us some poop for free. Alright. And end of turn. We paid the rent. Would like to see some sort of indication, maybe below it. Not just make it go away. Because you never know. So, this is the Bustle beacon, as much as I understand about it anyway. I understand that it is not every gamer's cup of tea. But if you do happen to enjoy this kind of busy work, then I am glad that I have shown this to you today. If you like this video, then please do give it a like, and I will be back with another game later. Thank you for watching. See you around.